But yes, I think I am from here on going to uh, be using the like a pre-game. Well, we talked about this yesterday. Where the
Mhm.
checklist. I'm gonna do some sort of a checklist to make sure I just click, 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 and try
Yep,
to get the
makes sense
production.
to me.
We need some production value upgrades. Some
Okay.
basic, easy production value upgrades that I can do on my end if I'm not a lazy bum. Um, let's see here. I will talk to you about this. What are we going to talk about, Placebo? We are going to. Okay, we'll start with something else. You ready? You ready for my grand statement that will start our amazing podcast?
I am. I am ready.
Okay, I'm going to start something different than what we did last time. My number one statement that I will give to you and allow you to express yourself from.
Mm.
Sports fans on social media are insane. And I would also like to now add to the statement that I wrote down, and stupid. I think stupid is also a very, not an insult, because a lot of people say dumb or stupid and they just mean, I disagree with you, so it's an
Hmm.
insult. I mean, you can gauge from the stuff they say that they
The level
are
of intelligence.
actually stupid. Yes. Like it is, they are actually dumb and cannot process information. As a matter of fact, I didn't even get the bookmark it. There was before coming on here earlier today, like 45 minutes ago. There was somebody who posted almost the same. He said, "Man, most of our fans on because I'm a Tennessee fan. He said most of our fans are just dumb." And he was posting something by a guy who was like, um, he was complaining that we didn't. He was like, "Oh, what did Hypo even do?" That's our football head coach. He didn't even replace hardly any of the defensive staff, and he was like, what is wrong with this guy? Because we replaced all but two of the coaches. We replaced like 8 defensive staff. We basically have a completely different defensive staff. And this guy was complaining as if it was a fact. That's the other thing, right? Like social media, you don't make like, did we even replace anybody? I'm not sure. I haven't been paying attention. You don't inquisitize out. By the way, that is a new
Mhm.
word I just made. But you don't inquisitize out. You declaratively state that something is wrong and how bad they are and stupid they are. And I find this over and I know you don't get to engage a lot, but in sports stuff. But I'm sure you have a similar experience with the F1 or something else that you do engage with,
Oh,
where
even when I used to watch soccer, right? Yes, I am aware of this.
okay,
It is evident to me that even take all of the social media elements away,
uh,
right? The people that are hyper, hyper, hyper into a certain team or sport thing or whatever, they are still dumb in the real world,
yeah,
in my opinion and experience. You can tell it's brutal, but it's what I think, right?
right.
Just talking with them for so long, you can gauge that a lot of what they do is they come to a conclusion like our team's the best, or our team needs this to work, or our team needs that. And they try to backfill every little bit of information. I think it's tempting to like think you know everything from your couch, right? Like me
Mm-hmm.
and my buddy who watch Formula One together, we will joke with each other like, oh, it's Ferrari is messing it up, and it's so obvious where they're messing it up. Here's what they should do differently.
Right.
But we also, every once in a while, we go, man, everyone should make decisions from their couch with a beer in hand,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like acknowledging that we are mere, we don't
You're
know so
outside.
many
You don't
things,
know all
right?
the yes. I agree, and
But
that is
I,
a weird
I
thing.
think that's rare.
Because yeah, I mean, that's what I get really strongly out of like the University of Tennessee fandom is that they all, you can tell that they all think they know every element
Yeah.
of what is going on. Like this is actually one of the things I was going to talk about. Like one of the examples I was going to give of this, because I was going to give some examples and we can kind of riff off of those. But one of them was so our athletic director increased ticket prices by like a total of I think $15 to $20 over his 5 years there. One was a talent fee he added. It was a $10 talent fee, so $10. And then there was some other thing that like I can't remember what it was, but he increased season ticket prices for the rich people by a little bit, something like that. But what has happened is that almost all teams do this. They sell their tickets online, and most of them use Ticketmaster. Well, what's happened is the same thing that happened with NVIDIA's graphics cards. The resellers come in, hit it immediately, and then a $50 or $60 ticket is now being sold for $200. Well, everybody's blaming him, like, well, families, poor people just can't go to these games anymore, and a family of four can't afford it. And Danny White is trying to outprice all these poor families. I'm watching it. I'm like, no, he's not doing it. It's the other, because the other reason they can do the scalping is because there is a demand for it, right? It's that other people, we're still selling out every game. Like every football game has been sold out. And so also it's your fellow fans who are willing to pay those prices, and like they're taking the fight to the wrong place, right? Like they're angry at the wrong, but they are convinced that Danny White has complete and utter control over all the ticket prices, right? And they're not even looking at like, well, no, that's not what's happening. He has no control over what this other company, how they run their business. Like actually, if they would take the same vitriol and the same energy it takes that they are putting online on harassing Danny White, right, and like tweeting him and that kind of stuff, and they would do it for Ticketmaster, and if all the fan bases that were having these issues would do that, eventually I think Ticketmaster would have to, because you could just flood to where it's pointless for them to even have social media, right? Like you could eventually make them figure that out.
But it requires like second order thinking, right?
Yes.
Like you have to process, where is the actual root cause of this, instead of just what initially comes to my mind. What do I think spur of the moment? What's coming to me?
Yeah. And
it's
I don't
dumb.
and
they're dumb.
Yes. And it's like they were still willing to deal with it when we had a singular bad season. This is also the craziest thing. So we just had, like, not this past football season that, is finishing up now, but the year before that. So 1 year ago, one football season ago, we made the playoffs. We had probably one of our best seasons we've had in probably close to 20 years, maybe 16 years, 17 years, something like that, right? It's been a long time. Multiple coaches. We were bad, right? Yeah. So this guy over the last 5 years, has got us back. And then last year, he had us in the playoffs 10-2. We have made the upper tier of teams, right? We have one bad year this year, and it was not even bad. We finished 8-5, so we still won more than we lost, but we were just not great. We were above average maybe. And then the same thing's happening with the basketball team. Last year, we made the Elite Eight, which is the deepest the Tennessee team has ever made it in the NCAA basketball tournament. This year, not having great results. Well, we're like 12-5, something like that. We're not great, not horrible. But everybody's losing they're like, people need to be fired. They're ready to fire the head coach of the basketball team, fire the base. It's like 1 year ago, we were as good as we've been. It's like in some of y'all's lifetimes. Like, what are you talking about? It's the just absolute, like, I guess it's impertinence or no, intemperance. What is it where, like, you can't process anything other than what you're feeling right now?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, there's a word for it, but it's like it's almost like what children have, like babies have.
But they can't understand other people's perspectives. That's not like the inability to track time,
Yeah, it's like, because children have it, right? Like it's there's a word where like it goes, then it goes behind a wall, and they're like, it disappeared.
Object permanence.
Okay, so there's like temporal permanence, right? And they can't process that. Like 1 year ago, we were all these same people that you want to fire had this team as good as it'll ever be. They're now like, oh, we are bad, and we will forever be bad. That is the other thing. We're headed. Oh, there's no way we'll ever be better. It's impossible. We've had one off year. It's crazy to me. Like, I feel like more and more sports Twitter is like the culmination of all the stupidity in Twitter. It's like all the problems it's not like they're the cause of it, but they have those elements in what they show. It's like is a condensement, an example of, you can take all of Twitter and be like, look at these guys, this is what's wrong.
And it's in every sport. The part that blows my mind is that the people who are in charge of the teams actually listen to the fans, because it seems to me that is the case, right? So like Formula One, you have Red Bull Racing, Max Verstappen, who has been champion 4 years in a row, right? This year he struggled a lot with his car, right? and he only placed second, but he missed out on the championship by about 9 points, which is a very, very small margin, right?
Right.
All things considered, he did really well. Red Bull did pretty well. They were a clear second. Or actually, they might have been. They were third because the second driver was always bad. But they had a world champion 4 years in a row. They had a great car, right? And they decided to fire their team principal, Christian Horner, all because McLaren was doing really well. McLaren came up. Is it so bad to say, no, they figured something out, but we'll get them on the next one?
Exactly.
Right? We've gotten them 8 times in a row, right? They got us this once.
So now let's go back to the drawing board and we'll get them. Yes.
Now we have to go get them again, but we will because we are confident and we've done it before. We have evidence that we can do this, that we are capable. And instead of that, it's just, nope, bye, see you, we're trying someone else. I don't get that at all. I don't understand.
It is that reminds me so much of, like, it's the same thing as football. Like, that's people were complaining about Josh Heupel and they were saying, oh, like, he's not but it's like, I'm the exact opposite. I feel really good about the head coach because here's what he's done. He went out and he said, okay, our defense, he tried being loyal to his defense coordinator for 4 or 5 years, right? He gave him a chance to fix. We were all, like, bad. Worse than shitty teams, bad on defense, okay? So he fired the guy, brought in a guy that won the national championship 2 years ago. Like, when we made the playoffs, their defense coordinator's who we got. He was number 1 defense, number 2 defense in the year before that. Like, he is defensive
solid
guru. And he brought in his people. So our whole staff is basically filled with solid, fantastic, top of the tier, everybody's jealous guys. Then also we were kind of looking a little bit like weak, even though we had the same size as other people. Like, our guys weighed as much, they were as tall, but they didn't get the push. They were getting pushed back. You know, you could just tell, like, there was a strength or a focus. There's a lot of stuff, but anyway, fired the strength and conditioning coach and got the guy that just literally like 2 days ago, won the national title. Their strength and conditioning coach went out and paid him more than any strength and conditioning coach they've ever gotten and brought him in and brought his staff in. And I'm like, that shows me he's like, no, I am here to figure out what's wrong and fix the problem. That's what you want out of a head coach, is somebody goes, okay, these are the problems, let's fix them. And everybody's like, oh, if he doesn't win this year, then we got to fire him. I was like, no, you can't. Like, he's clearly making the adjustments that are needed. I mean, clearly. And I don't know. There's just like an impatience. I guess it's because a lot of people do find their self-worth in the sports teams. And so they feel bad about themselves when the team is bad. And no one wants to feel bad. So the second they start feeling like you have a bad season, they feel bad. They don't like that. So it needs to be, they want drastic changes because they just, you know, and the reality is they don't really have any control of the situation, right? Like me and you don't have any meaningful control or any impact on your McLaren or whatever, right? Like, you don't.
Yeah, Oscar, my boy.
Yeah. I don't really, like, I can watch on the TV or I can even go and cheer in the stadium and make it loud, but you don't really, like, impact the game. As in, I can't make a safety. I can't make them train harder. I can't do any, like, you don't actually have any impact. And it's really hard for fans who find their self-worth in that team to deal with it. They can't actually control it, and they want to control it. So the best they can do is try to create this, like, negative social swell that they hope influences somebody to do something.
I wonder if it's like a natural tribalism that we have in our brains to some degree, right? Like, because I think back to, you know, historic times where we had these small little groups and tribes and we so fiercely adhered to them, right? Like a strict group.
You had to, right? Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe that's what this is, right? That's why they get so stupid about it. They're like, oh, my guys are the best, their guys are the worst, right? It's just a new version. I don't know.
You know, that reminds me of a story. I'm glad you brought this. So, how I tell the story without, I think I'm okay. I was playing a game with Blackjack, the guy that I do charity work with for Remote Warrior. and he had one of his like other members of the group or whatever, one of his former guys. Anyway, there's a guy came in and he was talking. He came into it was like Discord or whatever, and he was I can't remember what, but it came up that I was a Tennessee Vol fan. He was like, "Oh, Tennessee Vol!" Oh, I mean, he was genuinely like the horrible fan base. It was based off of like 6 years ago. I don't. It was a long time ago. It was a few fans or one fan. I think it maybe even been one post on social media something about like somebody got hurt and they were like happy about it, right?
Yeah.
Somebody from Georgia got hurt. And so he then has now decided that all Tennessee fans are these evil people that want to see other team people. Now there are every fan base has it though, but there are people who are that trashy. Absolutely. Listen, no one will criticize Tennessee fan base more than me. I think they're dumb, especially the ones on Twitter, right? The ones who are vocal on social media are some of the dumbest. But it's like, I am rational enough to go, oh, even though you're my rival, I know plenty of good people who also like that team. And I understand that the team you like does not dictate your morality or your value as a human being. I understand that there can be it's weird to me that people have that. And then, I said, well, I mean, I didn't even go to Tennessee. I went to school at East Tennessee State University and then Liberty, but I went to East Tennessee. He thought I said Middle Tennessee State, but he was like, oh my God, it's even worse. I was like, East Tennessee State? I was like, oh, I thought you said Middle Tennessee State. They're just, I mean, like, it was like, he hated everybody.
Yeah. He's just working with some serious heuristics there. He's categorized people on a very small sample size of what they belong in and made sweeping generalizations.
Yes. There's millions of fans that like Tennessee, and they're all bad because one guy posted a social media thing and it got likes or something. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, no, it's brutal. I mean, just, non sequiturs all over the place.
Yeah, it's like these people live amongst us and they work and they vote. And
their vote matters the same as you and mine.
It's like, that's, I'll give a few more. So here's another thing, right? and now I'm just ranting on sports fans in general, but so Kirk Cignetti is the head coach for Indiana football, right?
Okay.
He has only been the head coach there for 2 years, and he took them from probably one of the worst teams in college football to they just won the national championship, went undefeated, and looked fantastic in 2 years. So everybody's like, oh, all these other coaches who are saying that they need 4 or 5 years to turn the program around, they have no excuse. They got to be held to. And I was like, that's such a bad. No, what happened was Indiana found the diamond. So I actually made this comment. It's like saying your neighbor found a little baggie with a diamond by digging in their backyard, and now you think every backyard should have a diamond in it. Like that is now the. It's like, no, they just got lucky that they happened to get the guy who could do it. Just like Alabama for a long time had Nick Saban, who won X amount. Like, it's like sometimes a school just gets that one guy, and that's the only guy that can do what that one guy is doing. And this idea of like, well, we have to hold our coach to the same standard. This completely never, by the way, it's almost never been done before. Somebody take over that bad of a program and turn it into that good. This is like a once, maybe in the history of college football type of deal. And the mentality of like, well, this now has to apply to everybody.
Yeah.
It's like, there's some
it's
sort
silly,
of logic.
But it's indicative, right? Like everyone seems to have this strange view that we should all be identical. We should all be the same. We all have the exact same level of skill and talent in every field.
Mm-hmm.
We have the exact same experience and capabilities as everybody else. There's no such thing as people who are 7 feet tall. There's no such thing as people who are 5 feet tall. We are all 6 foot tall. Exactly. We are all that way.
That's the average. So that's where,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is funny how people struggle so aggressively with how averages work.
Yeah.
Like, or how per capita works as well. People really struggle with. I did read. Somebody was saying that they scientists or like psychologists show that or found out that like you have to have a certain level of IQ to understand ratios or per capita like rate, like how much per capita versus overall, and how that works, as far as, especially when you're talking about society, but in general, it's just like people's
Yeah.
brains, and it was below our the 85, which is the level they have for like intellectual functional, like to be intellectually not considered mentally handicapped. It is.
Oh,
It was like
70.
I think that. Well, okay, I'll tell you a story I heard or read online after we're off podcast about this, but they moved it up to 85.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was because the military said that they could not teach people who had under an 85 IQ any meaningful skills to be able to like do stuff and to be able to rely on them regularly. And that there's just nothing they could do. And even in the Army, they couldn't find a repeatable thing that would be their job, basically. And so that's, I think, where they decided to kind of hold the standard of like, if you can't even do a basic like take this, put it here on a regular basis, but you might be right. I don't know. We should look that up. Look that up while I rant. No, but it was in the 90s. It was I think below 95 or below. I think it was maybe around 95, 98, something like that IQ, that people could not understand the concept of per capita and ratios and how that works. And that made me go, well, there's a lot of functioning adults who live on their own, who vote, who work jobs, but are incapable of understanding per capita. And that's dangerous, right? That's a fairly dangerous concept that, like, when they're voting and deciding social policies, they don't understand how saying, well, there's more people that do this action overall by, let's say times 5, but the amount of population is times 50. So they're actually more. This other population is more likely to be doing this thing. I don't know. It's wild to me that like there's so many people that can't. Because like it blew my mind when I really thought like, oh, that's a hard concept for people to grasp.
From what I see, it says it used to be 85, but that was changed in 1973 to lower it down to 70 by the American Association of Mental Deficiency. So they revised the definition from 85 and below to 70 and below as the IQ threshold.
Look and see what the IQ threshold is for the military. Maybe that's where I'm getting that. I got that flipped because I said that they changed it and they did, but I got it. They lowered it as opposed to raised it, which is dumb if you think about it. But I think they should raise it back. Personal experience of dealing with people with 90 IQs, I think they should move it back.
It does look like they're disqualified below either 81 or 83 or 85 or something like that. They're disqualified from entering the military.
Yeah. Because I did remember reading someone from the military saying the reason we do this is because we can't teach them usable skills. And you would think that would be a good like cutoff point, I feel like, for like
the ability to do useful things.
Yeah, the ability to do useful things. Yes.
Position to be the threshold. To
consistently be reliable to do things on their own, yes.
But then this says they use a different type of test to assess their recruits and not necessarily an IQ test. It's the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. So it'll be a series of questions that it's basically like an IQ test, but it's a bit different.
Yeah. Interesting. Huh. Maybe they're like, listen, we just need you to be able to pick up a box and put it down over there. Can you do this? That's all we're asking. Can you follow orders? Well, this kind of brings me into the next one. There's just another concept, is that in the broader sense of Twitter, and I've been seeing this with a lot of political stuff, but I don't know why I'm editing my note like as if it matters. I hate the idea, and this happens with sports, so it does carry over. The idea that a ratio matters, that like if you ratio someone, have you ever heard of that? Where like if someone initially posts, because someone was talking about, I'll tell you why this. Twitter is considering paying more for a post if someone comments under a post and they get more engagement or more likes than the original post. Instead of giving all those engagements to the original poster, they will give it to the person who replied and basically ratioed. They got more likes than the original poster. But the problem with that is it does teach people to seek popularity over accuracy, right? Because an accurate statement often will not get the same level of popular as just some famous dumb person who
it's
makes a
the
snarky
same
comment.
as the original post, right? It all encourages pandering to what the majority is going to give you a thumb up for, right? 100% of it caters to let's just pander.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think they were trying to do something. I've been paying attention to this because I just think it's interesting because I do think it matters how people engage with the platform. And they're trying to mess with the algorithm to, like, news articles now are supposed to get more value, and it's like initial views or something along those lines. It's not necessarily likes, but it's like people clicking and reading the actual post itself. That was kind of their attempt to make people write articles or make more like meaningful content than just like lol whatever. But yeah, I do think that like when it comes to just argumentation, a lot of social media people fall into that. Like, I just see even intelligent people be like, well, that's why I ratioed you. You know, like in an argument, they just...
It's easy, yeah.
It's such a, like, snarky... I mean, I get it. Yes, that's exactly it. It's easy. It's an easy, like, dunk win. It's like...
Absolutely. It's like I know my argument could win if we go through, the 8 stages of this debate, but I could just take this little shortcut and feel good about myself and dunk on you. So that's what I'll do. 100%.
And it just, it annoys me so much.
It's a temptation for smart people, just like it is for dumb people.
You're right. The unwilling, especially when you're engaging some of these bigger pages, you're engaging with so many people, right? Mm-hmm. And you just, I mean, I get worn out just engaging our friends and feeling like I have to peel the onion back just for a few people. I couldn't imagine that just all day, every day. Just be like, all right,
especially when you're met in like bad faith, right?
Yes,
like I can remember there was a YouTube video that I commented on, and I made a decent argument, and I was met in very bad faith with, oh, you're throwing around buzzwords and pseudo intellectualism and this and that, and I was like, well, look, I suppose I could explain all of this to you, but it seems like you're just not really like trying to get at what I'm getting at and even understand me. You're just trying to dunk on me for having a different view than you. So I'm not gonna do this. It's like that's the right thing to do, I think.
No, I agree. I think that is maybe that is the problem with social media, is it does still encourage you to what the right thing is be like, oh, ignore that person. Who cares? Because like that's what I posted on TikTok, and I was like, well, I was going to reply to all the people who are being nice, but then you also have to reply to the people who are not being nice, right? Because you want the engagement or whatever. And I was like, I don't know. I just want to ignore them. Like, if I make good content, let people engage with the content. That's cool. I don't agree. I guess I don't want to be famous so bad or whatever. I don't want to have engagement. I don't want to grow so badly that I will keep people in a negative space or feed the trolls, I think is the way I've heard it. Like, I don't believe in feeding the trolls just because the trolls will keep pushing what I'm doing up. I feel like that is intellectually bad for society. Like, I think that's a bad thing to do. I think that's part of the problem, is that we have sold wisdom and factual accuracy for popularity.
Yes.
So I don't know. That was just, it kind of like bled into that, because I was like, I've been seeing that so much this week. Like, very intelligent people that I really like and I follow, and I'm like, I know I've seen when you want to be logical, you know what a good argument is, you know what a bad argument, you know when it's a bad fact, you know all that, and they're just like ratio, and I'm like,
the best among us are also human.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that's true. Yeah. No, that's very true. So let's talk about people wanting to feel like they're gods.
I'm the right guy to talk to about that.
No,
let me tell you.
Yeah, placebo. So, have you heard about the Reddit moderator? I think it's Stale 2000, and he made this whole video. Okay, I'm going to show everybody a little thing. Usually I don't do this, but I do want you to, because they actually basically pictured him pretty close to accurate here. This guy. This is what he looks like if he was a human. Like he. Okay. This is somebody making a, but they actually used his audio.
Or an influence. This video is about a topic of deadly seriousness. Reddit moderators have power. They have influence. Reddit moderators should be treated like celebrities or influencers because they actually have real power and influence. If you are one of the people who is joking about like internet janitor duties or whatever, I'm sorry to tell you, it's funny jokes, but you are wrong.
So he did this whole long post, this whole long video where he basically goes on talking about how Redditors are basically celebrities and should be treated like celebrities and influencers.
The moderators, I think. The Reddit mods.
That's what Redditor, like the people who like oversee the stuff. Yes.
Sorry, I don't know. I believe that Reddit is just a vile place. I think it is so rapidly spiraling down the subhuman category that I find myself deeply uncomfortable with it in its entirety.
Yeah, I am with you 100%. Of all the social media, it is the shittiest, the dumbest, the most biased, crooked, just gross, disgusting place. Now there are some places that are decent. Like sometimes I'll look for like the reason I even have any kind of presence over there is because I look at Korean TV shows, and when they'll be like, there's a list, and they go, "Oh, this is when this will go live on January 31st." I'm like, "Oh, I'll know to look for that to go live on my stuff."
There are times where I have a problem in my life that I'm like, I don't know how to solve this, and I Google it, and there's a Reddit post that does help me.
Yes,
for sure. that exists.
Yes,
and that is a good thing. And that's not what I'm talking about.
No, I agree.
I'm talking about Reddit as a whole. When I'm talking about Reddit as a whole, I imagine, the people that have on one screen their goon material, on the second screen their video game that they're playing, on their third screen they have their VTuber with tig ol' bitties, on their fourth screen they have a Reddit "Am I the Asshole" post that they're every once in a while glancing up at and trying to discern where they stand on.
Yeah.
And on their fifth one here, they have live stream fails. And that is, I believe, an accurate depiction of a lot. And unfortunately, I think that picture that you just showed of that person, I think that's what a lot of Reddit, I think they're deeply lonely people. They're deeply unhappy. And rather than doing anything to fix any of it, they are looking for people to commiserate with in their horrible
and then give
situation.
them credit as being like, that was what was so funny. He was like, he thought he should be treated as a celebrity and a brilliant mind, and it was this whole thing. Like that wasn't his whole. That was just them pulling out some of the worst clips. Yeah. But I mean, he does look like that. I've seen the actual video, and that's not that much of a caricature. You know what I mean? Like he really does. And it was like, you realize that was the problem with Reddit, right? Is the people who were moderators did start to see themselves as unquestionably right gods amongst men, their power to control and edit and tweak whatever.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think that a huge part of the problem is that the worst people in society self-select and go there. It's rough, but that is my opinion about it.
I mean, you're partial. You're right. Well, I mean, the same thing happens with. Well, I'll try to stay away from politics, I guess, because I could get into politics. It would lean towards politics, because I think there's another social media site that's almost exactly what it was. It was like created strictly for people who are like, I hate ever having to hear a different opinion. I want a social media site that only gives me exactly the people I have, and if anybody ever has the opposite opinion, they get kicked off the site. That's what I want. And I think it's like they self-select, and that site happens to be doing really poorly now because there's only so much negativity, misery, and, closed-mindedness that actually generates.
Well, and see, that's what I think of the Reddit thing. I do think it is largely like fake happiness or like fraudulent good vibes that are just like purely concocted and just totally inauthentic, right? Like, today you have won the internet, sir. This comment is the greatest I have ever seen in my life. Wow, that is incredible.
You got so many thumbs up or whatever they do. I don't even know what they do but yeah.
Thank you. I couldn't wait I was going to post this myself. Wow. Unbelievable that the OP didn't think this about that. Can you imagine thinking like that person about this? You have won the internet. Please.
Yes. You're so much smarter than other people.
Take us down. I'm ready.
Yes, that's true. Yes. Our podcast is we're going to have a section where we just pray to God to end humanity because we keep having something pop up. We're like, oh, no, I'm ready. I forgot about this. I'm ready. End it now, Lord. End it now.
Clearly we can't get out of it ourselves. Clearly.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're clearly not going the right direction, and we don't know how to right the ship. I guess this ties out because he was talking about celebrities, and it did make me think about how even. So, I'll just give you the information. You can tie it together yourself here.
Oh boy.
It was a Matt Damon interview, and he was talking about what Netflix asked him to do, and they kind of fought back. He fought back, and it was him and Ben Affleck and a few other. Rip. Have you watched it?
No, but I've seen this story many times about Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and The Rip.
Okay, I watched it. Great movie. I enjoyed it. It was good.
Oh, really good.
Yeah. It was not preachy. It was kind of intelligent. I liked it. It was very good. I just watched it last night. Very good. I would suggest that you watch it. Let me put it that way. I think you would. Okay. It's worth a watch. But he was talking about how Netflix kept saying that they basically require their shows or their stuff that they fund to restate the obvious plot over and over again because people are on their phones. People are just, and so he was like, it's watering down and dumbing down writing because people have, instead of being like, well, no, but this is a movie, so you should capture your attention and focus on what's going so you know what. And it ruins it for people like me because I get bored when the plot repeats it instead of it moving on like it would naturally. And they go, we're going to do this whole little 5-minute section to summarize everything. I'm just like, that's where I start to kind of glaze this because I'm like, I'm going to skip. I actually skip. Like, I hit the skip button because I'm like, I don't need this meaningless dialogue that just describes everything that I just watched for 35 minutes. Like, you're wasting my time.
I'm in the same boat.
And it's like, I feel like that is a lot of what we talk about on here about social media. It's the same. It plays down to the lowest denominator.
Yeah.
It lower, and it then causes those people to get worse, right? It causes society to get worse. When you take the lowest people and you're like, oh, instead of trying to raise them up, like Tolkien did with his writing, like if you ever read even Tolkien, The Hobbit, the one that was made for children, it's vastly more advanced than even like most college texts at this point in time.
Yeah.
And it's like, instead of trying to lift people up but still make it entertaining and good, I actually think it's lazy. I think it's creatively lazy to rely on, I'm just going to make the dumbest shit possible so that people will just constantly, I'm just going, whatever the lowest denominator is, I'm going to hit that because that's where people are. Instead of being like, no, I'm going to be so good at what I do that I can raise people up through my creativity, through my artistry, through my thinking. instead of trying to take advantage of. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was it tied into what we've been talking about streaming wise into Hollywood. They're both doing the same thing. They're both starting to now placate the worst. I don't know. Give me your thought. I just gave you a statement that you agree with, so I didn't really give you much to work with. But.
I'm fully on board with all of it. I can recall what it made me think of was a year ago. I was talking to this girl, and she was over one time, and we had like a TV show on or a movie or something, and she was like, "Okay, so I am one of those people that is on my phone during like shows and movies and stuff," and I was like, "Okay, but it's like." Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. Like, and it's so petty, and it's such a pathetic thing to be like red flag over. But I actually don't think it is. You know, I actually think it is a somewhat significant red flag, because like I will watch people at the gym, because at the end of it, I always throw a Stairmaster for 15, 20 minutes, something like that, at the end. And in front of those, there's the treadmills and the ellipticals and stuff like that. And I will watch people have like TikTok or Reels or something like that, and they are just scrolling through it, right? Just like taking it straight to their fucking skull for like 30 minutes. They're there just doom. Yeah. And it's like, how fucking fried do you have to be? Or at least how do you for no good reason, for nothing at all, cast oneself into the abyss like that? I don't get it, right? I can't be around those people. You know, if those people exist, that's great. They can exist away from me. I can't do it.
Yeah, I try to figure it out, because I don't mind certain shorts, but it's weird, because you know what I've found myself doing recently is I go on to Facebook Reels, but what I've been doing is I've been watching almost entire, or like 15-minute segments or entire episodes of like Would I Lie to You, or... So it's not, I'm not doing the like every 30 seconds I'm thumbing through something. Even the shorts I usually tend to be like 2-minute long ones where there's like something to it. And sometimes I'll watch it twice to like really get what was going on. But yeah, I agree. I think there's especially something wrong when the movie is playing and they have to do something else. It's like, it's one thing if that's your only source of entertainment, and maybe, you know, you're running, so you can't be fully focused because you're breathing heavy. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. You know, it's But when I feel like you're sitting in a room, why are you even watching a movie if you're not going to give it the attention? It's kind of like you shouldn't be watching YouTube Shorts and doing your homework. You should not be doing, you know what I mean? Like, there's some things that it deserves attention and focus. And
when I get liking background noise, if that's all it is, but like, you know, if I'm watching a movie with someone and I'm like, okay, I guess we kind of both need to be on the same page about whether it is background noise or whether it is the feature, right? Yeah. Like, what are we doing here, right? Like,
it's weird to me, because it's like, it does keep you from enjoying deep movies. I've seen people who I think are intelligent miss what a movie was about, or miss like underlying themes and stuff, because I could tell they're a little scattered. You know what I mean? Like, they're not fully focused, or they just aren't. They're, you know, maybe midway through they kind of did a quick, you know, glance at the phone or whatever, and it's like, that's why you missed the nuance that was going on there. Yep. I don't know. There's got to be something we can. I don't.
No, the world's going to cater to it. The world's going to cater to it. We're going to get worse. The Dark Ages Part 2. Yeah. You know, we will be surrounded by things we can no longer create. It's coming. Get ready. Buckle up.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I keep wanting to be like, surely there's some way. Yeah. Oh no! Take us now. Asteroid, please. Yeah, I guess so. Man, that's rough. It's hard for me to settle on, you know? I'm just like, there's got to somehow we can tell people, but then I'm like, no, that's the whole point of what we've been talking about, is there's not a...
But we keep coming to the same conclusion that the way past it is personal responsibility and personal growth and personal striving. And it's just getting harder and harder as society panders more and more to the worst among us. The only points of hope that I can see are that the big phenomenon, like things, right, like Game of Thrones, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Lord of the, like these became big because they challenged the people that watched them to be better, right? That is a thing. There is no like slop out there that has risen to the same heights that the movies and media that have demanded things of their audience have, and that gives some hope for sure. However, I think it's an increasingly shrinking pocket of media, unfortunately.
And you're right, because everybody wants to be famous, just like the Redditors. Everybody wants to feel like a celebrity. And when many of them aren't actually as brilliant as they would like to be in those elements, then they find the easiest path to success, or the easiest path to faux celebrity. And even if it's not as great as these other ones, they're not worried about creating great art. They're worried about being successful. And I think that's the other element.
Exactly.
It's like they're not worried about creating something that's wonderful. They're worried about having numbers or money or, hitting a certain standard. And then going, oh, but look at what, because I do see that a lot too, right? If you criticize what they do on a meaning, like a philosophical, existential level, or a quality level, they will go, but look how successful I am.
Right.
And it's like, yes.
Which doesn't work.
McDonald's is more successful than a lot of Michelin star restaurants. Like how much they sell, how much profit they make.
Yeah, financially.
That doesn't mean that they are better food. That is not that's why that doesn't matter. Like I really genuinely, it's like being financially successful means nothing as far as quality of production or of what you give to the world or who you are as a person. There are very evil, very dumb people who are very wealthy. Like that it doesn't equate, and people have a hard time separating that, or maybe they don't. Maybe subconsciously they know they can't succeed in these other ways, and the only thing they can do is just manipulate the market and take advantage.
Well, that's the thing that kills me is like I think it falls on the way we use words. I think we use words like successful to me. Like successful means 8 million different things.
You're right. Yeah.
And we just use it as this blanket term. But all it does is it confuses, right? Because if we were talking about just because McDonald's makes more money than a Michelin star restaurant does not mean it's better food. Right. Everyone goes, oh, of course. And then suddenly this, they are more successful vanishes, right? That was not a thing in that because we've used the appropriate words for it. But I think people use successful way too flippantly. I think people use the word love way too flippantly, just because it means so many different things. And I think that as unfortunately intelligence goes down, as people get less intelligent and smart about it, these confusing words start to seem more and more appealing, right? And thus we become less and less able to actually communicate what we actually think and actually feel, and people get confused.
You're right. Well, no, I think that's interesting. They were saying, God, we now, even in general, know like thousands of less words of English than they did back in like Shakespeare's time.
So this is my only argument. So when I was in my previous job teaching high school, I would commonly get questions like, why are we not allowed to curse? Right? Like, why is it bad? They're just words.
I agree.
Like, I totally understand. It's a fair thought, right? So let me explain why. My argument was always, if you allow those words to take the place, you shrink your vocabulary to a huge degree, because now things aren't terrible or awful or pitiable or horrendous or heinous or vile or anything like they're fucked. They're fucked up. That's fucked
everything
up.
It becomes the adjective, because I noticed it myself. Yeah, I do the same thing. Yeah, I mean, it's like I thought
so the right thing to do is to ignore that blanket word
Yeah.
and actually develop a vocabulary so you can talk about the way things actually are. Because if I call something heinous, that's way different from vile, right?
Yeah.
It's there's two different paths and we're choosing one. And I'm in my communication, I'm showing you which one we're going down. If I say it's fucked up, it could be a huge
Because a lot of people are like, oh, that's messed up. That's messed up, dog. And it's funny and everybody likes it. Or there's like, oh, that's messed up. Yeah, it takes too much out of the question. You're right. You just it's leading, hoping people can figure out what you mean by your inflection or by the context or what. It's instead of being very precise. And that's what you're talking about with love, right? Like that's people always. Again, I was once a minister, and we talked about that a lot. That in the Greek Bible, there's specific words, right? There's brotherly love, there's romantic love, there's fatherly love, and there's different words for each one of those. And there's not even one I don't think that counts for like I genuinely deeply I enjoy a piece of food, right? Like that's crazy that we use. Oh, maybe it's not. Now I think about it, I mean, how do you think we got so fat? I mean, I think it's. I mean, you know, some people, their passion for food has gotten to a very like almost love-esque status. You know, it's replaced that. That's where they get their dopamine rush from. But I just always think of love as being like the premier example of that, where it's like we way overapply it, and we don't specify nearly as much as we should. And it's why you get, I don't know, a lot of misunderstandings and weird stuff like, God, man, the people who ship characters like from others.
Oh,
just from
fanfic makers?
Oh, God, I fucking hate them with a passion. Especially when the original maker, like the original author comes out, it's like, no, this is who they are. Like, it just happened recently. There was like an anime, and it came out like the main character at the end of the thing fell in love or ended up dating one of the females. Basically, you could tell they were flirting the entire time, right? Mm-hmm. But so many people had him that they wanted to make him fall in love with this other, like, male character that he had grown up with, that they were friends with. Yes. That they were angry that the actual author was like, no, this whole time, I've never hinted that was some shit you did in your brain. And they were angry and like, oh. And it's like, that makes me, you know what, that does piss me off. I hate, because people are taking what someone else's actual work and effort, and they're claiming ownership over it. And I hate that. It's like, you didn't put any effort into anything. You're not creative. You didn't do anything other than take something else and then just manipulate it slightly and then be like, oh, I'm brilliant. Like, so egotistical. That's why it is. It's narcissistic. Because they want to make it reflect them. Everything has to reflect them. Every story, every content type, everything ever has to reflect that. They have to be the star.
You don't see me going, hey, Ripley should have been a man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ripley should have been a man the whole time. She embodied all these masculine characters. You don't see me doing this stupid shit. I'm just like, no, that was a badass woman.
Yeah. I just got
for me, and we move on.
I've been streaming Dead Island, but I've played as this like Scottish punk rock chick, right?
There you go.
And I'm like, oh, cool. I played this. I was never like, oh, we're gonna get our dick out, and when she's a man. Yeah. She needs to bang that other dude with a big schlong. You know, it's like, no, I played as a female I get it. Like, it's not me. You know what I mean? I can tell that I'm playing another character, and I'm experiencing life through another character, but it doesn't, like, I don't have to have it entirely.
And I can even look at the characters and be like, yeah, you know,
there's elements.
This is a woman, but 60% of her I really vibe with, right? Like,
you relate to.
It is just not the sexual orientation of the person that I, you know, or the.
Well, isn't that a problem? You know? Isn't that a major problem that we feel like we can't relate to something unless it's like completely us or it completely
Isn't that stupid?
Yeah,
isn't that fucking wild, man?
And then we turn that into, it almost has to be a sexual thing, right? Everything. Yeah. Our primary attribute is our sexualization, is our sexual nature, and it's like we as humans, that's a very portionate, like I don't know, a small portion. Yeah, it's a subsect. It's not, should not be our primary element of who we are as a human being. It's just a weird, I don't know. We kind of.
It's a problem of focus.
People who are listening won't know what just happened, but it was fantastic. Probably can't say that on YouTube. I'll have to edit that out.
No, now it's been ruined and we're done for. But that's okay. It's all
I will momentarily mute. I will cut that one word out.
Yes. Yeah.
But hold on. Let me look at the recording. I am 54 minutes in. Okay, good. I'll know about where to look. Hey, you know what? That was a good podcast. I think we covered some good stuff. I thought we had a good topic. Do you feel good about it, Placebo? Did you feel good about it? Do you feel like it was
fine?
Good?
It's fine. Felt like the one yesterday was better, but it don't matter.
Really? You thought the one yesterday was better?
Yeah. I did.
See, I felt like that one was more disjointed than this one. That's why
it might have been. I might be wrong.
Oh no, I mean hold on.
I have
Everybody
no
who has made it to this point, I will post both, and then you let me, because I need to know that, because we could run more podcasts like yesterday. I was worried that it went this way. This isn't like a competition thing. I genuinely want to know where the preference is, right? Like what feels more fluid and more comfortable. I probably ranted a little more today. That's probably one thing that happened, is I talked more.
I do wonder if you're, and I could be totally wrong about it, I wonder if your perception of the quality of a podcast is instead your perception of how well you did in the podcast of being
Maybe
fluid or something like that.
Yes.
Because I know that certainly, once I ascertained that I had that view, I had them mixed up at the start of when we were doing this. I would feel like if I presented myself well and I flowed well, then it was a good podcast. When no, it really was just my little part was good. And so I don't know, could be the case that you're just totally right, or the case that,
or it's a little bit of both.
Could be.
I feel sometimes when, and I should say why I feel this way. I can't explain this. When I have to put the stuff from the other screen on here, and then I have to click back and click back and click back, because to hit play on stuff, it really discombobulates me, and you probably don't see it because it's fluid on you, but on the screen it goes black and then it goes back and then and it's like, it's very jarring. Yeah. And that's why I was trying, one reason I did think it was today was because I was reading the comments and we were just kind of conversating, and so there wasn't this like weird shift of focus over to this one thing and then back, but then it didn't quite look right and it's off in the corner, and I don't know, it was also a visual thing for me.
No, I get it. I agree with you. I do think that is a good quality of life step, to not have the little like step through process of click here, click there, pause, turn the volume up, click back over here, click there, pause. Now we listen and okay, and pause and click back, and then I do think getting rid of that is probably a good idea.
That is one reason I felt like it was smoother, was just because it doesn't have that weird, because you're right, it just chops up stuff, it chops things up.
One thought maybe is, since we are in a Discord call with each other, you might be able to post in the call chat the stuff that you might want to show, so instead of clicking over to another screen, it is just like below us, and you can just go out of the full screen and look. It might work better. It might work better. You're right. I don't know. It's just a thought.
I'll test. Actually, you know what? Once we stay in the call, and I will test it out.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay. I'm sure everybody wanted to hear us talk about that. So, I do. I want them to know.
Logistics are fun. Yeah. I always like the part of Penn and Teller where they show how it's done. It's the best part.
So that's what we're thinking. And we are still trying to improve the podcast. I want people to know that this is not the finished project, and we are still thinking about, how do we make this better? How do we make it, but not I don't want to lose the value of it being genuine, authentic conversation. I don't want it to get too over product based, like, well, welcome back to the blah, blah, blah show. And we all feel like, it just feels like really, now it's your turn to speak. And now it's your turn,
Element. Do you struggle to get your salinity each day and your hydration by Element?
So I'm still wanting it to feel like a conversation that people just happen to be a part of. That's what I'm striving for. But I want to make it a good conversation that people are part of. So anyway, I'll let people leave. They've probably already left, but we did a good job. Yay, go team. Love you all. See you next week or the next week after that or whenever. Long kiss them. Bye. I am an idiot.